Okay, so today we're going to dive into something a little bit different.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at Adultery by Paulo Coelho.
Mm-hmm.
And, you sent this in wanting to know more about what's going on inside the head of this woman in
Yeah.
Geneva
Yeah.
who, on the surface, has this very, very enviable life, right?
Yeah.
Comfortable, secure, but then underneath, there's this current of unease and dissatisfaction
Mm-hmm.
and wanting something more. And so we're going to unpack all of that for you today.
Yeah. And, jump right into the mind of this woman who is
Yeah.
in her 30s, lives in Geneva,
Mm-hmm.
seems to have it all right.
Yeah.
Financial security, loving husband, children,
Mm-hmm.
even, designer clothes, exotic travel. But
Yes.
right away, we're confronted with
Yeah.
her thoughts and this weariness, this sense
Yeah.
of just not wanting to face the day.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like more than just not wanting to get out of bed.
Right.
It's like this feeling of just being on autopilot.
Yeah.
This feeling of
going through the motions.
yeah, and just this lack of engagement.
Right. A lack of real spark
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
her life. And so it's fascinating how
Mm-hmm.
Coelho uses all these like little everyday observations to really illustrate this.
Right.
Like she watches her neighbor cleaning his car, like meticulously cleaning his car,
Uh-huh.
and she sees a sense of purpose in that
Oh, wow.
very mundane task,
Right.
right? Which she seems to be lacking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it makes you wonder if, is Coelho saying that purpose isn't necessarily about these big achievements, but more
Mhm.
about that internal sense of agency and intentionality,
Right. Right.
whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah. And even beyond the everyday tasks,
Yeah.
like her commute
Mm-hmm.
through Geneva, she's lived there her whole life.
Yeah.
And even that evokes this feeling of nostalgia, but also stagnation.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like the familiarity is now,
A cage
yes.
instead of a comfort.
Yeah, and it's interesting because she even says like when she travels,
Mhm.
she misses even like the flaws of the city.
Right.
It's like the familiarity, even with its imperfections,
Yeah.
offers some sort of grounding.
Some kind of grounding.
Yeah, that's now missing,
Yeah. Yeah.
or is now like twisted into this
Twisted in.
feeling of being stuck.
Mm-hmm. Being stuck.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And professionally, we see the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the newspaper, she finds the whole news cycle.
Yeah.
Interviewing politicians, it's all very tedious to her.
Mm-hmm.
She wishes she could, cover crime.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something more real, something more authentic.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like this yearning for
For authenticity, yeah.
yeah, for something real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This comfortable life that she has, it's just not doing it for her.
Right. And it seems like all of this is building up inside of her.
Mm-hmm.
Like she even mentions that she's afraid that if she keeps repressing these feelings,
Yeah.
it will manifest physically
Uh-huh.
and make her sick.
Right. That's a powerful idea, right?
Yeah.
That these unexpressed emotions
Mm-hmm.
really can impact us physically.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is more than just like a fleeting bad mood, right?
Right.
This is a deep discontent
Yeah.
that she realizes could have serious repercussions.
Yeah. And a lot of this really comes to a head at night.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't it? She talks about like waking up
Yes.
in the middle of the night.
The dreaded hours.
Yeah. And just staring at the ceiling
Yeah.
and just wrestling with this unease.
With this unease.
Yeah. And she even thinks briefly about seeking psychiatric help.
Right.
But then immediately
Yeah.
jumps to, oh, but the children.
But the kids won't understand.
Yeah, they wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
And it's this constant, push and pull between
Mhm.
her needs
Mm-hmm.
and what she feels like her responsibilities are.
Right. And there's so much guilt.
Yes.
Right? She recognizes that there's no jealousy in her marriage,
Mm-hmm.
which most people would see as a good thing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But she feels guilty about her own dissatisfaction.
Right.
Because she knows that there are people out there
Yeah.
who are facing real hardship.
Yes.
And she's got it so good.
And she's got it so good, right?
Yes, well.
And she's not happy.
Right, right.
And she's just plagued by this.
Yeah.
So it's this really complicated thing of like feeling bad about feeling bad
Right.
when others have it worse.
Yeah.
And then that conversation with her friend
Mm-hmm.
where the friend uses the word apathy
Right.
and that word just like really hits home for her.
Yeah, she feels so seen
Yes.
by that word.
Yeah. Because her friend describes it as this.
As pretending.
Yes, pretending.
Pretending to be happy, pretending to have orgasms,
Mm-hmm.
pretending to enjoy life.
Yeah, and she's like, oh my God.
This is my life.
This is me. This is me.
Right, and
Yeah.
she feels like she's approaching this breaking point
Yeah.
where the pretending is just not going to work anymore.
Right, right.
So
And then comes this really strange encounter.
yeah, the politician.
Yes, with the politician where they're
The interview.
yes, and all of a sudden there's this sexual act.
Yeah, this very unexpected.
Yeah, completely unexpected.
And bizarre.
Yeah, and she describes it as mechanical,
Yeah,
non-erotic,
Yeah.
no pleasure whatsoever.
right.
But then after it happens, she feels this surge of desire
Yeah.
and arousal for her husband.
Isn't that interesting?
It's so strange.
Like this meaningless encounter with this politician
yeah.
somehow jolts her awake.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, it's so bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it seems to be this, this theme that we're seeing throughout the book of this,
this disconnect
Yeah.
between the physical
Right.
and the emotional.
right. And even the politician himself
Yeah.
seems unhappy, right?
Right.
There's these rumors of an open marriage.
Mm-hmm.
He's constantly, worried about his public image.
Uh-huh.
Like even during their next encounter.
Right. First it's about smoking.
Yeah, like can he be seen smoking?
Right. And then it's about their association.
Yes, yes.
And then he even talks about how exhausted he is
Mhm.
and how he's always trying to please his wife.
Yeah, so it's like he's in this gilded cage.
He's in a different kind of gilded cage
Yeah.
than she is, but still not content.
Right, right.
So
And she's willing to be used
right.
as long as the terms are clear.
Yeah, it seems like a very transactional
Yes, yes.
kind of arrangement.
Yeah.
You know?
And then comes Jacob Koenig.
Mm-hmm. Dick?
They have this lunch together.
Right. A seemingly ordinary lunch.
Yeah.
But something shifts for her.
Yes. She can't even really explain it.
Yeah, she can't put her finger on it.
Yeah. But something is different.
But she feels different.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the most subtle things.
Yeah, the most subtle moments.
That can have the biggest impact
right.
on us, right?
Yeah. yeah.
And so you have to wonder, was this shift internal or external?
Mhm.
Was it something that he did, or was it
Right.
something that's
Something that was already brewing inside of her.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very intriguing.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we get this glimpse into the newsroom,
Mm-hmm.
and her boss is pushing her to get closer to the politician.
To cultivate that relationship
Yeah, as a source.
as a source.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because he explicitly says,
Mm-hmm.
we're on his side.
We're on his side. We just need
We need the confirmation.
the confirmation and photo.
And it's like, wow, this is
right. It's a very
such a cynical view of
like the media, right? Of
yeah,
how narratives are shaped
Yeah.
and agendas are driven.
yeah, and she's aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that has to
Add to her disillusionment.
Yeah, this feeling that
Not just with her personal life, but also with her professional life.
yeah, like everything's a facade.
Everything's a performance.
Yeah, and then she goes to yoga,
Yeah.
and they're talking about emptying your mind.
Right. Emptying your mind, being present.
Yeah, but she talks about how
Emptiness is what she fears the most.
yes, it's like the opposite of
Opposite of what she
wants.
needs.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all of this is while she's increasingly obsessed with Jacob. She's waking up in the night.
Consumed by thoughts of him.
Yes, and she doesn't understand it.
Yeah.
Because they haven't.
Nothing's really happened.
Yeah, they've just had conversations.
It's just conversations.
But she's like, why can't I stop thinking about this guy?
right. It's
Yeah.
that magnetic pull.
Yeah.
Right. When your reality feels stagnant
Mm-hmm.
and unfulfilling,
Yeah.
your mind just fixates on these
Yes.
potential sources of change
Yes, and she even says that,
or excitement.
yeah. She says that the world around her feels stagnant,
Mm-hmm.
that conversations are repetitive,
Right.
a waste of time.
Like, what's the point?
Yeah, she's just like, oh,
Right.
everything is just the same.
Yeah, it's all the same.
Nothing is new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this feeling extends
Yeah.
beyond just her husband, right?
Right, yeah.
It's her friends. It's
Yeah, everyone,
it's a feeling of like
Yeah.
this deep dissatisfaction with
Yeah.
her whole existence.
Yeah, and then they meet
Yes.
at this park
At this park.
called the
Parc des Eaux Vives.
the Parc des Eaux Vives.
Which interestingly means Park of the Living Waters.
Oh, wow.
But it's described as neglected.
Yes. Yes.
So again, you have that imagery of
Right.
something that should be vibrant and alive,
Mm-hmm.
but isn't.
Yes, and he opens up to her.
Yes, he talks about his professional pressures,
Mm-hmm.
how he feels useless,
Yeah.
how his wife doesn't want him to
Get help.
get help because she thinks it will
Hurt his career.
damage his career.
Yeah.
You know?
So there are these parallels
Yeah, there are these parallels
between them. And she, gives him this advice.
Yeah, she tells him.
Yeah, she's like, look, you need to.
Go see a psychiatrist,
Yes.
you know?
And she even shares.
She even tells a personal story.
Yes.
About a friend.
Who was helped by medication.
Yeah. And she's like, you should try to find these small joys in life.
Right.
And you have to break out of this cycle of negativity.
Because negativity can be so self-feeding.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like,
right.
She's giving him all this advice that
she needs to hear.
That she needs, yes.
Herself.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they kiss.
And
after the kiss, she feels like
she's broken down some walls.
Some internal walls.
Right.
And that she's regained some self-control.
Or
but then
moment of physical intimacy has provided her with some sense of
liberation and control.
Yeah.
However,
but then she thinks about
confiding in him.
Yes.
But she decides not to.
Right.
So you see this
ambivalence,
this fear of really
going there,
confronting the potential consequences.
And then the next thing we see is a family picnic.
Right.
But her husband now knows everything.
He has everything.
And she feels this sense of relief at not having to pretend anymore.
Right. Like the facade is at least partially dropped.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is a huge turning point in their relationship. The fact that he knows everything.
Yeah. It's like they've reached some new level of
honesty.
Of honesty and openness.
Yes. But then,
then
this is immediately contrasted with this encounter they have.
With family friends.
Yes.
While they're out running.
Yeah. By Lake Geneva.
Right.
And you can just feel this contrast.
Yeah. Between their outward normalcy.
Right.
And her inner turmoil.
Yeah.
And as a reminder, she sees
the election billboards.
Yes. With Jacob's face on them.
With Jacob, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like he's everywhere.
He's everywhere.
So you can't escape it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then,
of course, the dinner party.
Oh, the dinner party with Marianne.
And
Jacob's wife.
It's so uncomfortable. And Marianne is asking these seemingly innocent questions.
Right.
About jealousy. But you could just feel this tension.
Mm-hmm.
It's this battle of
veiled accusations.
Yes.
And carefully constructed defenses.
Yeah, and she's denying feeling jealous.
Right.
But you can tell she's deeply affected by it.
Yeah, it's all just beneath the surface.
Yeah.
It's like simmering tension.
So much tension.
Yeah.
And then immediately after that.
Yeah.
She tries all of these different
coping mechanisms.
Yes, like drinking iced mineral water.
Right.
Immersing herself in cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to write down her complaints.
Like
just trying to
anything to regain the sense of equilibrium.
Yeah. And force a smile.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like putting a Band-Aid.
Yeah. It's not
on a bullet wound.
Right. It's not addressing the real issue.
Yeah. It's just this temporary fix.
Right.
Right.
And then she has this planned meeting.
Yeah.
With Jacob. And she feels this anticipation.
Mm-hmm.
Like even this feeling of rebirth. As she's walking to meet him.
Right.
Like it's a huge deal.
She's putting so much hope
Yes.
and significance on this meeting.
Yeah. And they talk about,
They talk about fears.
Yeah.
Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
This need for
connection.
Real connection.
Yes.
Beyond just the superficial.
Right.
So she's really yearning for something much deeper.
Yeah. And then she has this reflection about the nature of love.
Yes. She references
Paul's
letters.
Talking about
patience, kindness.
Right. Patience, kindness, generosity.
Humility, courtesy.
Unselfishness, good temper.
Yes. And she acknowledges that she loves her husband. Right. But she also has these feelings. For Jacob. And it's like.
Right. Can you love
more than one person?
More than one person.
At the same time.
Right.
Yeah. And then she decides to confront Marianne.
Right. She just drives to the university hospital campus.
Like, out of the blue. It's so impulsive.
Yeah, she's like, I have to do something.
Yeah.
I have to
get out of this.
Break free from this rut.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she's also seeking out these unusual figures.
Unconventional figures.
Yes.
A faith healer.
A faith healer.
A man who claims to help with nighttime anxieties.
Nighttime anxieties.
And they're giving her all this strange advice.
Unorthodox advice.
Yeah.
But it's making her think about her problems.
Yeah.
In a new way.
Yeah. And then she meets with Jacob again.
Mm-hmm.
And this time he opens up to her.
Right.
About his unhappiness.
Yes, about his inability to show love.
Yeah, so it's like their connection is deepening.
Right, based on this shared sense of
unease
and inadequacy.
Yeah.
And, you know.
And then the affair begins.
Right.
You know, and she reflects on how her relationship
with her husband.
Yes, with her husband has changed.
Right.
Like how intimacy has become routine.
Routine and
almost performative.
Right.
You know?
So this void has grown.
Yes. And she's hoping that Jacob will
fulfill it.
Fill it, yes. But then she notices that Jacob has disappeared.
From the press.
From the press.
Right.
Then everybody's concerned with
whether or not to cancel the New Year's Eve party.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because of cost.
Right.
And it's like this reminder
of how the world just keeps
going.
Spinning.
Yeah.
Oblivious.
Oblivious to her personal drama.
Right. Right.
You know?
And then her feelings for Jacob start to change.
Yeah.
Like she no longer cares about his happiness.
Mm-hmm.
She even resents him.
Resents him?
And she reads this article how married women are more likely to suffer from depression.
Right.
And it's like, oh, wow, this...
So she realizes that maybe...
this isn't the answer.
This affair isn't the answer.
And she has this realization about this hole in her soul.
This hole in her soul.
Yeah, that's just draining her.
Draining her of energy.
Yes, of all positive energy.
Right.
And it's just this emptiness.
This emptiness.
And she's like, time is passing, and I'm stuck.
She feels trapped.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's just this, it's a powerful image.
Profound emptiness.
Yeah.
That nothing external has been able to fill.
Right, right. And she tries to talk to her husband.
Yeah, she hints at her unhappiness.
Yeah, she's like, I'm wasting my life.
I feel like I'm wasting my life.
Yeah, but he doesn't understand.
But he doesn't really get it. Yeah. And this just shows how much
distance
has grown between them.
Yeah, in their relationship.
Right.
And then she has this dream where she's 16 again.
16 again with Jacob.
With Jacob, yeah.
Back in the past.
Yeah, and then they have a physical encounter.
A physical encounter.
That's sort of like this...
like they're teenagers again.
Yes! This awkward, inexperienced, bumbling.
Right. And it's like she's trying to recapture...
she's yearning for that...
yes.
time of...
that simplicity.
Simplicity.
Of youth.
Right.
But it doesn't work.
It can't be recaptured.
Yeah.
You can't go back.
Right.
And then all of this comes to a head.
Yeah, her behavior starts to become
more
erratic.
She drives past Jacob's house.
Right.
You know, she's just...
she can't maintain the facade anymore.
It's cracking.
It's cracking.
Yeah, and then that dinner party.
Oh, the dinner party.
The confrontation with Marianne.
Right.
They finally...
have it out.
Yes, all the cards are on the table.
Right.
The accusations are flying.
The jealousy.
Yeah, it's bad.
The animosity. It's just laid bare.
Yeah.
Right.
And then she's alone in her car.
Mm-hmm.
And she just breaks down.
She breaks down, overwhelmed by shame.
Yes.
Anger.
And she realizes...
He realizes the damage she's caused.
Yeah, and she's like, I've been living a fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
This whole thing has been a fantasy.
Right.
And I might have even ruined the good thing that I had with Jacob.
This was her moment of reckoning.
Yeah.
You know?
And she's like, I have to go back to reality. Mm-hmm. I have to face reality.
Face reality.
And even thinks about confessing.
Confessing everything.
To her husband.
To her husband.
Yeah, and then she's, she's reflecting on the lies that she's told and how she doesn't even respect herself anymore.
Right.
And she feels this wave of jealousy.
Yeah.
But this time, it's different.
It's different. It's like
numb.
No.
Yeah, there's no tears.
Detached.
And she's just watching everyone
going about their lives.
Yes. Like she's not even a part of it.
Right. Yeah. And her boss calls.
And her boss calls and she's like, oh,
Yeah.
I can't deal with this.
She makes excuses.
Yeah.
Right.
I have to go back to my fantasy.
And she recognizes this pattern,
Yes.
this need to escape.
Yeah, when things get tough.
Right, when things get real.
Yeah, yeah.
She just wants to hide
Yeah.
in her fantasy world.
And then she goes home.
She goes home.
And starts making dinner.
Right.
Like everything's normal.
Right.
And it's so bizarre.
But inside, she's just in turmoil.
Yeah, and she lights a fire. She opens a bottle of wine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, here it comes.
Here comes the conversation.
This big confrontation.
With her husband.
Reckoning.
But then he starts talking about dreams.
Yeah.
You know?
About his fear of self-delusion.
Yes.
You know?
Which is so ironic.
So ironic.
Because it's like, that's exactly what she's...
Exactly what she's going
through. Yeah.
You know?
And then he even admits...
He admits that he's not good
Yeah.
at showing emotion.
Yeah. But he tells her that she's important to him.
Right.
And it's like this
glimmer of hope.
Yeah, this tiny.
This genuine connection.
Yeah, yeah. But then
she remembers the message.
The message from Jacob.
Jacob.
Saying that she ruined something.
That she ruined something.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's like this reminder.
A stark reminder.
Yeah.
Of the consequences.
Of her actions.
Of her actions.
Yes.
Yeah, and then she's listening to her husband
Mm-hmm.
talk about selling ideas.
Selling ideas.
Yeah.
Right, his work.
Yeah.
And she's just completely consumed by her own thoughts. Her